Hi guys, and welcome to the Wyfe Up video channel. I am so grateful that you guys are here. Thank you for stopping by. Today's topic is, do you speak Naganese? Let's get into it. I'm about to start the podcast, so let's go. Hello, and welcome to the Wyfe Up podcast and video channel. I am so grateful that you guys are here. My name is Deetra and I am your host. I am the creator of Wyfe Up. For those of you that are new and you're wondering what Wyfe Up is, it is a movement. It's Wyfe is spelled W-Y-F-E. It stands for Wives Yoked for Entirety. It means that we're making a decision to stay married to our husbands for the entire rest of our lives, and doesn't matter what comes up, we're going to turn our marriages over to God so that He can lead us and so He can fix things, restore things, revive things, renew things, because God hates divorce. And there's another, I was going to say, even bigger picture as far as here on earth, not bigger than God, but just is huge, and that is us staying together as a family, teaching our children what families are about having a husband and a wife in the household, raising the children, because there is a war on our children out there. This world is not playing fair, and our kids need us. So anyway, thank you for stopping by. If you are new here, welcome. If you are returning, welcome back. I truly appreciate you, and thank you for all the love. We are in this podcast is in 9 different countries right now. I'm overwhelmed. Like, God is just doing His thing, and I'm just being a vessel. So today's topic is, do you speak Naganese? So I'm excited to get into this. So let me start with a little bit of a prayer, like I always like to do. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to be with the Wyfe Up Fam again. Thank you for the new listeners, the new subscribers. Thank you for people, that are tuning in just to see what this is about. God, I pray that you speak through me and use me, Heavenly Father. And thank you that there's something that you want to say through me that I can say in this podcast / video channel that will reach the heart of a wife, that will make her want to fight for her marriage. And Lord, we love you, we honor you, and we praise you. In Jesus' name we pray, amen. So, do you speak Naganese? So let me tell you where this came from, right? A while ago, one of my daughters, my 4th child, said, she was a teenager, and I don't know what I was yelling at them for. Probably not doing their chores, because the only thing I usually get upset about is when they decide not to do their chores. And anyway, she was brave enough to say, you speak Naganese. And I was just like, I can laugh now. But at the time, I was like, really? But that was the first time I had ever heard that. I don't even know if she made that up or she heard that before, but I think she made it up. Anyway, Naganese is a language that wives and apparently mothers speak when they are nagging the stuffings out of their children and or husbands. So since we are talking about marriages at Wyfe Up, here at Wyfe Up, I'm going to use Naganese as a wife. Is that the language that you speak as a wife to your husband? Now listen, there's a lot of languages that are out there that I do want to be bilingual. I can speak English and Pig Latin, and I can speak some Spanish, and I definitely understand a lot of Spanish. But Naganese is a language I don't want to learn. Like, I don't want to speak it. I don't want anyone to ever use that in relation to me ever again. Definitely not my husband. Okay, definitely not my husband. Now, my children may say that, right? Because if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then they're going to hear me. They're going to hear my mouth, right? But my husband, I'm not nagging him. I refuse to nag him. And there's several reasons why, and they're in the Bible. And I wanted to share them with you today. So, you guys know what it means to be a nagging wife. And my question is to you, are you one? Are you a nagging wife? And do you speak Naganese? Do you nag the stuffings out of your husband? Do you even know? If you don't, if you're not sure, ask him. Now, I want you to be prepared, right? That there is a chance that if you ask your husband, he's not going to give you the most honest answer. And here's why. Because that means there's a discussion afoot, right? That means that if you're asking that question, that if he says, you know what, babe, yes, you do nag me, some wives are going to get offended. Some of you wives are going to be like, what do you mean I nag, with the nag face? You're going to say it. You're going to be mad and offended. You'll be like, well, the only reason, all types of excuses, the only reason why I nag is because you don't tend to listen to me, or I feel like I'm not being heard, or whatever your reasoning is, right? But you ask them a question. Do you think I'm a nag? Am I a nag? Right? So some husbands are smart, right? Oh, I didn't mean to say it like that. Husbands are smart, but what I'm saying is that some of them might feel like, if I answer this is a trick question. It's like, do you think I look fat in a dress, right? If I say yes, she looks fat in a dress, then it's gonna be a problem. She's gonna be upset, but she does look a little fat in a dress. So what do I say, right? Except for my husband, if you guys already seen any of the videos that he's been on with me, you know he don't pull no punches. He don't care. He's gonna say it. So I don't ask him questions that I don't want to know the answer to. If I want the truth, I'm gonna ask him. If I'm like, I don't know if I want the truth today, I'm not gonna ask him. How about that? So anyway, though, some people, some wives don't want the truth, right? You don't want your husband to really say that you're a nag, but you really do. Because if he tells you that you are a nag, then you can correct it. You do not want to be a nag wife. You don't. And again, I'm about to go over this in case you didn't know it, because some wives are new Christians. Some wives that are listening maybe are not Christian, but I'm gonna let you know that in the Bible it talks about nagging wife several times. So anyway, if you ask your husband and he happens to say, no, babe, you're not a nagging wife, you know, no, right? He might not be telling the truth. A good time to ask him is not when you're arguing, not when your stance is going to be like, am I a nagging wife? Right? You don't want to do that either. You want to ask him on a good day, on a good note, like if you guys are, and you're not going to take offense. Let's say you guys are out to eat, have a glass of wine. You can say, babe, can I ask you a question? Like, I really want you to be honest with me. He's like, he probably still will be like, wait, I just want to eat dinner. I don't want to have a discussion. But just say, hey, I'm not going to get mad, but I just want to be a better wife. Like, I really do. Am I a nag? Do I nag you too much? And wait for the answer. If he's like, babe, no, you're not a nag. You're not. Then good for you. Good. Like, seriously, because that is the goal. But if he's like, well, sometimes, if he's like, sometimes, then it's a whole lot. He just doesn't want to say. He's just saying, Scoshi, a little bit, but really he means a lot of it, and he just don't want to get in an argument. But that's his way of letting you know, yeah, babe, you nag sometimes, right? That's just some husbands. Some husbands will let you know directly, yes, babe, I think you do nag me. I wish you wouldn't, because that gets into this. Listen, and I wasn't even I wanted to start with the Bible verses, but I'm gonna go there right now. Like, you don't realize, it's like, have you ever been cold? Have you ever been outside and it's breezy outside, but you could feel that chill, like all the way in your bones? It's like that. Like, man, I wish I had a sweater and a cup of hot cocoa and, a hat and a scarf. Like, it's chilly out here. Like really, I could feel this. I don't like that feeling, right? It's like that. Imagine a husband wanting to be excited about coming home because he's been at work all day. He wants to come home. He wants to kick up his feet. He wants to grab a beer. He wants to turn on the game. He wants to relax. And I dare say that he wants to relax with you. But then you get in the way, because the minute he walks in the door, you are whack. He walks in the door, here's your kid. What took you so long to get home? And I thought I asked you to do this, that, and the other. And why are your socks still on the floor? And I thought you was going to do this, and you did. And you was going to fix this, but you didn't. I mean, he didn't even get in the door good. Some of y'all will meet him in the driveway with your wah. Some of y'all. I don't know who that was for. Anyway, okay. So in the Bible, nagging wife is mentioned a few times, like I said. As a matter of fact, there are several verses that mention nagging wife. Just using other words like quarrelsome or contentious, right? Same thing. Same thing. It means nagging. Let's talk about them. Proverbs 21, verse 9. It is better to dwell in a corner of a housetop than with a brawling woman in a wide house. Okay, that was the King James Version. So now I'm going to read the New Living Translation for each one of them, right? New Living Translation. It's better to live alone in the corner of an attic than with a quarrelsome wife in a lovely home. It's better to live alone in the corner of an attic. That means you at the tippy top of the house, over in the corner, away from everything, as far in the house that you could possibly go without being outside, right? It's better for you to live there alone than with a quarrelsome wife in a lovely home. Meaning you could have a fly house, like dope or whatever the newest word is, right? Sick. I don't know. That's probably real old too. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. You can have the nicest house, like MTV Cribs type of, house. And it's better for you to live, a husband rather, to live in the corner of the attic by himself than in that big old sprawling mansion with you. This came from the Bible. That's a problem. If that's you, that's a problem. Because clearly this happened way back in biblical times too. This was happening way back then. And it happened so much. It was such a strong point that they decided to include it in the Bible several times. Several times. That's like underlining and bolding and putting stars and hashtags and all types of stuff around it, letting you know how important this really is. Let's go. Okay. Proverbs 21, verse 19. It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman. Now the New Living Translation. It's better to live alone in the desert than with a quarrelsome, complaining wife. Do you know what it's like in the desert? There's no water. It's dry. It's just sand. There's nothing but rattlesnakes and dryness and death. It is better to live in the desert than to live with a quarrelsome wife. Are you guys getting the point? Are you getting the point? Is that you? Do you speak Naganese? Because if you speak Naganese, you need to change your language. Like, seriously. Here's another one. Let me grab some water. That desert got me thirsty, okay? Pardon me. Proverbs 27:15. A continual dropping in a very rainy day. And that might be dripping. And I might have typed it wrong. A continual dripping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. New Living Translation. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as a constant dripping on a rainy day. A quarrelsome wife, which equals a nagging wife. Same, argumentative, always got something to say, is as annoying as a constant dripping on a rainy day. You ever seen that? Sorry, my allergies, guys. Have you ever seen that where, have you ever seen where you hear like something, a drop in a bucket, and it just keeps dripping and dripping and dripping and dripping, and it's annoying. It's like that. Well, okay. Here's another one. Proverbs 25:24. It is better to dwell in the corner of the housetop than with a brawling woman and in a wide house. It's better, New Living Translation, to live alone in the corner of an attic than with a quarrelsome wife in a lovely home. So it's the same, different verse, different chapter, same thing. They felt they needed to reiterate it, so they mentioned it again. Where did nagging wives come from? Where does that even come from? I dare say that it is a learned behavior. I promise you, if you are a nagging wife, you have seen this behavior somewhere and picked it up. Maybe your mother nagged your father. Maybe your aunt nagged your uncle. Maybe your grandma nagged your grandpa. Maybe it started with you because you like things done a certain way. And when your husband doesn't do it quite the way you like it, you nag the mess out of him. Some of you know who you are. Some wives have OCD and control issues. So they nag when they can't control their husbands or things are out of place. I've seen it, right? I've seen men do it too. Okay, don't get me wrong. Because some men have OCD and they want things a certain way. And if their wife doesn't do it a certain way, they can't handle it. It's a lot, right? So same with the wife. Except for it looks really bad on us. So if we ask our husband to do something, like, let's say you are a neat freak and him dropping his socks on the floor and not picking them up drives you insane. And you're just like, I can't take it anymore. And you're thinking, well, I don't know what I'm going to do. Because what ends up happening is that bothers you. So him doing that, granted, maybe you'll pick the sock up because you don't like it out of place, you don't like it on the floor, but it's still festering inside. So you're just like, I can't take this dude. So it just goes in a mountain of different things, offenses that you hold against him. Because, can I just tell you something? Him leaving socks on the floor is not divorce worthy. If you have OCD and he does things that just really, really gets on your nerves, and you're just like, I can't take it anymore, and you're holding it against him because it's like, oh, it's the socks. Then he leaves the toilet seat up. He doesn't flush, or he leaves the sink dirty, or he leaves toenail clippings, or just little things like that add up. Don't hold those offenses. Don't, because that can be something that just builds and builds and builds and builds, and you don't want that. It's not worth it. It's not worth getting to that point where you're ready to end things because things have just piled up on top of each other, right? All right, so, but what I mean is that sometimes women can be like, I gotta have things a certain way, and I done told him over and over again to pick up those socks, to fix the gate, to close the refrigerator door, to rinse out his glass, to put his clothes in the washing machine. I told him over and over and over and over again. You're nagging him. How's that working for you? How's that working? Because I would bet it's probably not working out. What should you do? Overlook, and instead of nagging to him, nag to God. Nag to God. He is the best listener, seriously. And I've heard stories where people have nagged to God about things that they wanted their husband to change, and God slowly started changing this man. I've heard stories like that. Nag to God. Don't nag to him, because that will get on his nerves, right? Even if he's in the wrong. Here's another. Proverbs 19, verse 13. A foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are the continual dripping. New Living Translation. A foolish child is a calamity to a father. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as constant dripping. Here's another one. Proverbs 12, verse 4. A virtuous woman is a crown to her husband, but she that maketh ashamed is as rottenness in his bones. New Living Translation version says, a worthy wife is a crown for her husband, but a disgraceful woman is like a cancer in his bone. Now, disgraceful doesn't equal nagging, but I felt like I should throw that in there because there are some wives right now that are married that are doing things to disgrace their husband. I know that that is not the same thing, disgraceful and nagging, but I know that there are some wives out there right now that are married, they have husbands, and they're bringing disgrace to their husbands. They exist, I know they do, okay, because I actually, one day I'll tell you guys that story about myself before, but I know what that's like. So I know that word is for somebody. Somebody right now is married and they're doing things that are disgracing their marriage, disgracing their husbands, disgracing themselves, and not making our Father happy. So whoever that's for. Let's see. Proverbs 27, verse 15 through 16. A continual dripping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Whoever restrains her restrains the wind and grasps oil with his right hand. Okay, New Living Translation. A quarrelsome wife is as annoying as a constant dripping on a rainy day. Again, stopping her complaints is like trying to stop the wind or trying to hold something with greased hands. Ladies. One more. And this one is not necessarily about nagging. It doesn't say it in here, but Proverbs 31:26. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and on her tongue is the law of kindness. New Living Translation. When she speaks, her words are wise, and she gives instructions with kindness. I talk about nagging like just opening the mouth and just talk. And I think if I were to ask my husband, do you think that I nag you? He would say no, because I don't. I'm not a nagger. I don't speak Naganese. However, he might say, if there is a such thing, that I'm a silent nagger. So basically what that means is, let's just say I ask my husband to do something and he doesn't do it, or says no, or, forgets or whatever, right? And I may ask him again. And if he's like, no, or like flips it off or whatever, instead of me saying, you know what, you should have did this, that, and the other because I asked you to do it. I don't know why you didn't do it, and what's taking you so long, and you sitting there watching TV, playing the game, or whatever you're doing, and I asked you to do this 2 weeks ago, and it's still sitting there just like, no, that's not I. That is not me. But I might sit silently. Like, babe, do you think you could fix the ceiling fan? No, I'm not going to do it tonight. I'm tired. Okay. And I might sit there quietly doing my work, minding my business. And all of a sudden he'll be like, what's wrong with you? Nothing. I know there's something wrong with you because I can see it in your face. I don't have a poker face. For those of you, you can read, you will know if something is going on with me. And my husband knows me very well. I mean, it took 19 years, right? He knows me very well. So I might sit quiet. In his mind, or rather what he would say, is I'm not nagging, I'm sulking, and I'm sulking because I didn't get my way. I've been guilty of that. Listen, can I be honest? I've been guilty of that. But, it's not sulking because I didn't get my way. It's sulking because I'm disappointed that it didn't get done. And I'm sitting maybe thinking, oh, wow. And this did not happen, this particular incident. But maybe I might be thinking, well, you know what? I really wanted that fan fixed in the baby's room because it's hot in there and, but he's tired. I get that. What do I do? Do I hire somebody to come and do it? Or, maybe I'll go to Walmart and just buy a regular fan so that way, the room can cool down. I don't know. But I might just be disappointed. And sometimes I think he might mistake my disappointment for sulking. if that makes any sense. But he would probably say that's silent nagging, because then he would just be like, let me just get up and fix the fan because I don't want to see her face long and sulking, right? So that might be another way, another way that women might nag, a silent nag. Some of you might do that. But for the most part, I'm just talking about you wives that are catching your husbands at the door with the want. Like he can't get a word in edgewise. He can't even get in the door good. He don't want to come home to you because he knows as soon as he comes in the door, you're going to have something to say that's not going to be positive. Let me just tell you something. When your husband walks in the door, the 4 words that you need to say, the words that need to come out of your mouth when you see your husband is, how was your day? How was your day, dear? Babe, how was your day? Somewhere along those lines. Have you guys ever seen the movie Pretty Woman? Now, I know this isn't a Christian movie, but I know a lot of you have seen the movie Pretty Woman. There's a scene where she is sitting back in a chair. Richard Gere is coming home, and she has her feet kicked up, and all she has on is a tie. And she's like, how was your day, dear? Like, that's player. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't necessarily emulate that because there's a bunch of little busybodies in our house, but I would totally do that, right? If you guys don't have kids yet, oh my gosh, you need to greet him at the door, straight naked, or you can like do that scene. Right? He comes into the living room and you're sitting naked, a tie on and a drink and, feet on the table and just, like, how was your day, dear? He will stop in his tracks and pay attention to you. Okay? If he walks right past you and just be like, yeah, it was good, go put some clothes on, there's a problem in your marriage. or there's a problem with him. One or the other. Okay. I think that a lot of wives make the mistake of nagging because they think that that's the way that they can get their point across, or they think that that's the way to get things done. And I'm telling you, that is not the way, right? There's a saying, of course, I can't think of it right now. It's something about you can attract more bees with honey or flies with sugar than you can with poop. I don't know, something like that, right? But you guys can let me know what the saying is in the comments. But there's a saying like that, right? You can get him to do the things that you want to do with a sweeter attitude than with you nagging him all the time. And I can tell you that no husband likes to be nagged. No husband in the history of husbandry, if that's a word, of husbands likes to be nagged. And if you don't believe me, go look it up for yourself in the Bible, and it will tell you that husbands don't like to be nagged. It's better for them to live in a corner in the attic of the house than to live with you if you're a nagging wife. And so if you speak Naganese, change your language. If you are a nagger, highly consider stop doing it. And if you don't know, ask him. Just say, babe, I am not going to get mad. I want to know the truth because I want to be a better wife. Do you consider me a nag? Do I nag you? And if he's like I said, if he's like, and it's like that. If he's like, sometimes he don't want to hurt your feelings. He doesn't want to hurt your feelings. If he's just like, you nag sometimes, not a lot, then he's probably telling the truth. But if he's like, more than likely it's a lot more than he's willing to say. And like I said, he doesn't want to hurt your feelings, or he doesn't want to start an argument. He doesn't want to start a long discussion. He doesn't want to hear your long reasons of excuses as to why you nag or why you act the way you do. He doesn't want to hear. He just want to enjoy his game or eat his food or whatever it is that he's wanting to do. He doesn't want to have that conversation, right? Because a lot of men, guess what? Men don't like having deep-rooted conversations. They just don't. They're so simplistic. They just don't, right? Unless it's something that they feel really needs to be addressed, like the finances or, or maybe a real problem that's going on in you guys' marriage. He might, but like that, that's a conversation, right? That if he knows you're gonna fly off the handle, he's not gonna want to have that conversation with you. But if he's like, you know what, this is my chance to kind of tell her that I really do feel like she nags just a little bit too much. I have this opportunity since she asked. Just a little. You better get to the root of that. Just a little. Ta loca. No. He means, I don't want to say, like, he's a nice guy, baby. Oh, babe, sometimes you do nag. It's unnecessary. But it's not over. It's not bad. I can handle it. Okay, you're good. What does he say? Ask him. But don't probe him. Don't nag him about whether or not you nag. Like, don't be that girl. That's Naganese. Like, babe, I know you really think I nag. Like, I know you do. You can just tell me. Just be honest and tell me. Do you think I nag? Do you think I nag? Am I a nagger? Do I nag you sometimes or do I nag you? What's the percentage? 50%? 90%? What would you say? 70%? 10%? Do I nag you 10% of the time? Like, don't nag him about being a nag. Don't do that. Right? But there's a way, like I said. Catch him on a good day. You guys might be having a good day. And I know some men might be like, on a good day, I don't want to spoil my day by having a conversation about that. But you have to find the right time to find out. Because you need to know how to stop it. You need to know where you're at. And I will say that some of you don't think you nag when you really do. Some of you don't. And some of you are going to justify it. If you only knew what he did or doesn't do, if you only knew what I put up with, maybe so. But if you want your marriage to work, you are going to have to work on not being a nag. That is real talk. Right? You don't want him living way in the corner in the attic, like way up above the house, and you live down there by yourself because it's better for him to live up there. According to the Bible. Better for him to live. Listen, I couldn't believe that when I read it. Like, I was just like, wow, that's how bad it is. That's how bad it could be for a man to come home to a wife that's contentious and quarrelsome and argumentative and always got something want to say. That's how bad it could be. Better for him to live in the dry desert with the rattlesnakes and the scorpions and the no water. Like, he could die of thirst. Better for him to die of thirst than, it didn't say that, but you guys know what a desert is. Like, be a better wife. Wife up. There's ways to do that. If you don't know how to do it, just like, God, I need your help to change me into a better wife. Point out what I need to change. Let my husband tell me and be honest with me and tell me what I need to change, because I don't want to lose this man. I want to stay married to him for the rest of my life. I don't want to be divorced. I want to change. And I want to be the Proverbs 31 woman that you're calling me to be. Because that Proverbs 31 woman, she's not a nag. That wife? Oh no. She's not a nag. Matter of fact, only good things come out of her mouth. She's only good for her husband. She is amazing. You should be building him up. Now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, I am well aware that there are situations where you're just like, listen, you don't even know. Maybe so. I'm just telling you what the Bible says. And it's just another... it's just more instructions for us that has been laid out for us. Clues as to, how to be the best wife that we can possibly be. Because if we're like this other thing, this woman that speaks Naganese, it's better for our husbands to not even live with us. I don't want that. That's my best friend. Like, I don't want to do that to him. And for those of you wives that are new to wifing, let me just let you know real quick that for the most part, if you have a good guy, again, I'm not talking to women that are in abusive relationships or that your children are being abused. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just us regular women that have gotten married to good guys that we thought, you know what, I'll be married to him for the rest of my life. And now you're married and you're just like, okay, it's a little harder than I thought it was going to be. Let me just say that men respond to how we are with them. They do. Men respond to how we are. If you are a loving, giving, caring, secure wife that edifies him, builds him up, loves on him, respects him, honors him, obeys him, submits to him, if you are that wife, it stands to reason that he'll want to, number one, receive all of that from you. What do you think is going to come from him after receiving all of that from you? Because if you do all of those things, but he treats you like dirt, then you married an asshole. Oh wait, I'm not supposed to curse. I'm sorry. Then you married a guy that's not so nice, right? I apologize, guys. You married a guy that's just prick. But that's not most of us. Most of us have husbands that will react off of our love for him, off of our respect for him, off of the way that we treat him. And I believe that what the Bible was alluding to was that if you are nagging him and you are making his life miserable, and if you are making your husband's life miserable, he's not going to want to be around you. He definitely is not going to want to give you the best of him. Why would he? There's so much potential on the inside of your husband. You have the opportunity to bring that out. You do. Nagging him is not bringing out the best in him. He may do what you asked him to do because he don't want to hear your mouth. But he didn't do it with the best of intention. He didn't do it with the best of heart. He did it to shut you up. He did it because he's like, I don't want to hear her mouth no more. Let me just go on ahead and do it. Dang, I can't even sit down. I can't even rest. I can't even listen to music. I can't even have a beer. I can't even relax. Dang, you know? Not me. No. Mm-mm. No, ma'am. You know what I greet my husband with when he comes in the door? Not every day, but I do it. A rocks glass with, I think we had some spiced Caribbean rum tonight. So as soon as he came in, it was just like, here you go, babe. He was like, right? Take the edge off, relax just a little bit. Greet him at the door with the best of you. Greet him at the door with a present, with a surprise. Do not greet him at the door with how your day went. And I know your day might not have been the best day, but wait for him to ask you. Wait for him to say, babe, how was your day? Can you ask him how was his day first? Can you do that? Can you be like, babe, how was your day? And really listen intently on how his day was. Even to the things that you might not even find important. You might not find important. Could have been about sports. It could have been about politics. It could have been about, I don't know, whatever matter. And something that happened at work, something that happened with a friend of his. It might be something that you might be like, that's not necessarily my thing, but it's going to be my thing today. What's going on with him should be as important to him as you as it is to him. Real deal. Real talk. You should be listening so that way when tomorrow comes, you might be able to ask him again. Or next time he brings it up, you'll know what he's talking about. And you could be like, yeah, so what happened last time? Because I remember you said this, and this. Like she was paying attention. Oh, nice, sexy. Listen, I'm going to go off topic. Stop nagging your husband. If that's you, stop nagging your husband. If you speak Naganese, change your language. Change your language. That is one language you do not want to put on your resume. Are you bilingual? You speak English and Naganese? Hey, I know I have men listeners. I know I have husbands that listen. Is your wife a nagger? Does she speak Naganese? If she does, would you tell her? If you don't want to tell her, maybe you might want to have this video playing in the background one day. She might come in and be like, who's this? Oh, she just popped up. No, don't. That's dishonest. If you put it on, but put it on and act like, it just popped up. But you can say to her, oh, I found her the other day and I was listening to some of her videos, and she's pretty good. She talks about keeping marriages together and give advice to women and to wives, and talk about edifying and uplifting husbands and things like that. Depending on her mood, she may or may not want to listen. I don't know. It depends on how you come at her. So, but anyway, I fight for marriages. I fight for husbands. I fight for wives. I fight for covenant. I fight for marriages to stay together. That's what I do. Because I know that there's some marriages, and I mean a lot of marriages, that end in divorce that shouldn't have. Honestly, that shouldn't have. Kids that are living in households, separated households, going to dad's house, going to mom's house. They don't know what unity is. They only know divorce. And they know that people can coexist in divorce. So you know what? How hard are they really going to fight for their marriages if they know divorce is on the table? Because you've divorced successfully. You know what I'm saying? There is, I mentioned in the beginning of the video, there's a war right now, a spiritual war. There's an attack. There's an attack on children like never before. Oh my gosh. Like never before. And guys, I've mentioned before, and if this is your first time listening, or maybe you didn't catch this episode, the last episode where I mentioned this, there is a YouTube channel that I watch called Soft White Underbelly. And I just really like, hearing about other people's lives. And, there's a lot of people on this show who are, they live in Skid Row. They on Skid Row. They are prostitutes and pimps. And he interviews drug addicts, pimps, prostitutes, just a whole plethora of people. And so it's really interesting to me. And one of the first questions he asks them all the time is, tell me about your home life. Did you have both parents? And 99.99% of the time, the people say no. Dad wasn't around, didn't know dad. Dad was in jail, didn't never know him, whatever. Mom raised me or grandma raised me. And mom was on drugs, or she was in the streets, or she was a prostitute or a hoe, as they call them. I lived with grandma. I heard stories where people were like, yeah, grandma let my uncles rape me. Things like that. Like, listen, our kids need us to be solidified, unified, to be on the same page, to raise them. We need to bring that back. And so guys, you guys may or may not know, but I've been alive a while and I've seen trends come and go, right? I remember when corduroys were out when I was little, and corduroys went away and corduroys came back. I remember when bell bottoms were out when I was little, and bell bottoms went away, and then bell bottoms came back, except for they call them something else, right? Flare legs or something. What else? I remember when cornrows, afros were out, then they went away. Now afros are back, natural hair is back. Like, so trends have come and gone. But something that I haven't seen come back, and we need to help bring it back, is mother and father in the home. When I was growing up, everybody in my class, for the most part, had a mom and a dad in the house. All of my friends had a mom and a dad in the house. All of them. All of my relatives were married and they raised. We had maybe 1 or 2 kids in the class that who might not have had a dad in the house, because either dad died or possibly mom and dad weren't together, or they were never together, or whatever the case may be, or somebody may be raised by their grandparents. But that was like 1 or 2. Now you get 1 or 2 people whose parents are together still. We need to bring that back. That needs to be a trend that comes back. Since things like to come back, Polaroid. You guys know what Polaroid is? Polaroid camera, the little camera that you snap and it goes zzz, and the little film comes out and you blow it and then the picture comes out on the... That was around when I was a kid. And it came back. You can now go into Best Buy and buy a Polaroid camera. It's insane. Things come back. Let's bring marriages back. Let's bring, not marriages. Marriages are happening all over the place. But how about we bring people staying together? Let's bring that back. Let's make that trend again. Let's make that popular, where the husband and the wife are in the home and they're raising their children together. Let's make that a trend. Help me, guys. Help me. Divorce is not an option. You guys that are new to the channel, just briefly, and I'm going way over, but anyway, I was married before. So I know the effects of divorce. I know the effects of divorce on children. Man. Marriage is not a joke. It's not something that you just do and then, oh, well, it doesn't work out, I'll just get rid. No. That's not the way it's supposed to be. And what's happening nowadays is that, people are getting married and they're just like, well, I thought he was my Mr. Right. Paying all this money for weddings, right? People are coming to the wedding, flying from all over to come see you get married on your big special day. And then 2 years later, you're like, no, I thought he was the one, but he's not. Why is he not? Why is he not? Because the both of you need to turn your marriage over to God, and God needs to do a work in you and need to do a work in him, so the two of you can come together, and nobody did that. So now he's not Mr. Right and you made a mistake. Is that it? A lot of the time, the reason is that people don't turn their marriages over to God. They don't wait for God to do a work in them and in their husbands to turn something or give them beauty for ashes. Is he Mr. Right? Was he who God picked for you? I don't know. A lot of us get married before we really have a relationship with God. That's the truth. A lot of us get married before we have a relationship with God. We might be Christian, but there's a difference between being Christian and having a relationship with Christ. So a lot of us get married before we have a relationship with Christ. So we get married to people that we believe, oh, he must be Mr. Right. Right? But because we don't know God like that, and he probably don't know God like that, we're bringing all types of dysfunction into the marriages. And you look up one day and you're like, wait a minute, maybe this wasn't the person I was supposed to marry. And then the world may be telling you, get divorced. Find your Mr. Right. Your boo is out there. He might be waiting for you to get divorced so you can come marry him. Really? Meanwhile, you've made like 2 and 3 kids with this man. And you're ready to let him go, let your marriage go, let the kids be raised by themselves or by you and be hoisted, back and forth, shoveled back and forth between his house and your house. Then the kids get to meet his new person. You got some boyfriend in the house. Listen, a lot of those stories that I watch on Soft White Underbelly talk about the girls, the prostitutes are like, yeah, my mom had a boyfriend or several boyfriends. They molested me. Is that always the case? No. There's some really good guys out there, but sometimes you don't know. Until the child gets older and they tell you, yeah, well, that boyfriend you had? Yeah, he touched me. He used to come to my room at night. He told me if I ever said anything, he would kill my family, you guys. So I never said nothing. She grew up all types of problems. That's a real thing. That's a real thing. Turn your marriages over to God. I know this started about nagging, but I really feel led to talk about this. Turn your marriage over to God. There's somebody right now that's thinking, I'm going to walk away from this marriage, and I'm here to tell you that is not the answer right now. Because there's some things that God wants to do inside of you. And there's some things that God can do inside of your husband. And the two of you together, after God does what he needs to do, can be a power couple, can be a powerhouse, can be a force to be reckoned with, can be somebody that's going to stand up for two people that are going to stand for your children and your legacy, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren that are going to know you, that are going to come to grandma and grandpa's house, that are going to know, wait a minute, I know a strong marriage. My grandma and my grandpa, they've been married for 30, 40, 50, 60 years. I do have somebody that I can, pull from and be like, you know what? I know someone. Because a lot of people nowadays don't know anybody. I've heard people say, I don't want to get married because I don't know anybody that's had a good marriage. So they're like, I'm cool. I'll just live with somebody. They think that all marriages are hard or dysfunctional. And they're not. So whoever this is for, that right now you're contemplating divorce. You're looking at your husband like he's crazy. You're thinking, I don't want to be with this person anymore. I'm over it because I believe the enemy has turned your heart cold, or rather has whispered some things in your ear to make your heart turn cold towards him. And he's a good guy. You've said over and over again, he's a good guy, but I don't think he's just for me. No, sir. No, ma'am. Sorry. No, ma'am. He's a good guy. A good father. You owe it to them kids to work that out. Or at least try. Before you sign on the dotted line, you, ma'am, owe it to those kids to get on your knees, to get on your face before God, to ask God to fix your marriage, to pour your heart out to God and let him know everything that's going on in your marriage and give him a chance to fix it. You. So, that's all I wanted to say, guys. Don't speak Naganese. Do not nag your husband. You don't want him living in the attic away from you. That should never be the case. That should never be the case. So guys, have a great rest of your day. And I will see you soon. Bye for now.